The Chicago Bears versus the Los Angeles Rams. Everybody hates on the Chicago Bears, and all they do is keep winning. They're 5-1. They have a better record now than the Los Angeles Rams, who everybody's convinced. Let me say this. I said this in the reaction video before I get you with the fantasy football stuff. The Rams, they're 4-2. Their 4 wins are against the NFC East. They have the NFC East completely off their schedule. There's no going back to that well, right? So you got the 49ers, meanwhile, they're 3-3, who just beat the Rams, and they still have a couple of games against Washington, as we talked about during the fantasy football playoffs, by the way, for the 49ers. Chicago Bears, their defense, it's easy to look past them. They weren't as elite as in a defense as in 2019. They're getting back to that level, everybody. I wouldn't say they're like 2018 Chicago Bears level, but they're pretty darn good. I still say Foles is better. I think I predicted him to get 3 touchdown passes last week. He didn't. He had 2, I think, touchdowns, but one of them was on the ground. Look, man, Chicago Bears, it's all about this defense. The Rams defense is good. I think this is a low-scoring game. Chicago Bears offense certainly isn't elite. Let me hit you with the fantasy football projections. Montgomery, I don't love, but I have him graded as a start. I don't love it. Jimmy Graham, you could start, although Cole Kmet got in the end zone this week, not Jimmy Graham. For the Rams, meanwhile, Darrell Henderson's a start, but I really hate everybody other than maybe Cooper Kupp. I have Kupp as a start against the Bears. Woods you could start, and then everybody else is a sit. I really think this is going to be 24-21, 2017, or something like that. So I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. Anyway, take it away, David.
I think you just basically summed up David Montgomery's entire career. I don't love it, but I'm starting him.
Yeah. Yep.
At this point, you don't love anything about David Montgomery other than the volume, and that forces you into starting him. So good luck.
You know what would have been perfect, by the way? Why wasn't Chicago in on the Le'Veon Bell thing?
Why wasn't Chicago in on Cam Newton or anybody not Nick
You're
Foles?
Right. You're right.
You know what? Because it's Chicago.
Yeah.
Because they don't know what they're doing. Because Ryan Pace is, I don't know.
He's not good.
He's been eating rocks for breakfast. Something. Either way, it's not looking good in Chicago. And you talk about they keep winning. They barely keep winning. I believe their point differential is plus 12. Plus 12. They are absolutely due for a loss.
I know. I'm looking forward to the articles, the worst 5-1 team in history, all the analytics and stuff, but they keep winning. They keep winning.
Barely. So I think the Rams are in for a bounce back. We see how have the Bears been beaten before. It's when you don't try and pass on them. It's when you try and run the ball right up the gut, right down their throat, and kind of take away that pass rush and the danger of that pass rush in secondary and the turnovers they can create. And the Rams are running the ball pretty darn good right now. Darrell Henderson is running the ball well. And we didn't see Cam Akers. He played 1 snap. Yeesh. You got Cam Akers. Yeesh. But yeah. I think this could be a little bit of a game where Cam Akers does get involved more, because at this point it's clear. It's kind of predictable with Cam Akers because they want to use him as a running back. That's it. They don't trust him in the pass game. He's got 1 target. 1 target, my friends, through 5 weeks. What is it, 6 weeks now, I believe. 6 games, 1 target? He was out one of those games, but that's not good. He's not being used as a receiver. So the only way Cam Akers is going to hold value is if this team is playing from ahead and they want to run out the clock in the second half. And I do think that they could do that. So I think this is a good time to buy Cam Akers because he doesn't cost anything and he's cheap as heck. And if you need a running back, I do think in the right matchup, eventually he's going to become the guy that they will rely on to run the ball in the second half of games.
You know, the Rams, their 2 losses to Buffalo and San Francisco, I would say those, in my view, if I'm looking at this just as a bettor, are good losses. And what I mean by that is they weren't physically overmatched. They didn't look bad in those losses. They just lost. Whereas Green Bay, that was a bad loss. Again, sometimes you just throw that in the toilet and you flush it. You know, Tampa Bay, it was a juggernaut. Green Bay, you know, they came out flat. Tampa Bay just overtook them, and that is what it is. But the Rams have played strong and played hard throughout all of the thing, right? They haven't been in a situation where McVay's just like, let's pull the starters off the field yet. Chicago, though, their defense is good enough to keep them in every single game. I know their offense isn't anything to write home about, and I think Nagy's overrated as a quarterback. I don't like Pace as a general manager, but, you know, if you're a Bears fan watching this, I get it. You're going to, you know, comment and you're going to say, what are you talking about? You know, why are you hating on the Bears and yada? They're 5-1. I'm not hating on them. They keep winning. I'm acknowledging it. And at this point, I'm saying, I mean, they really have to collapse to not make the playoffs. They're going to be in the playoffs. The 7 seeds, man, they're going to be in the playoffs. They can go 4-8 4-6 the rest of the season and finish 9-7 and make the playoffs. They're going to be in the playoffs. They are. So anyway, let me hit you with the line here. Chicago +7, according to Bovada, against the Rams.
I'm picking the Rams to win this game, but not by 7 points. Not with that Chicago defense. I think it's going to be a 4 or 5 point game. Absolutely, I'll take Chicago on the points here.
The value, and again, we were talking about the Raiders. We were talking about the Titans. The cat's out of the bag on the Titans. But last year, like the Raiders and the Titans, and even the Jets the back half of the year, and the Dolphins in the back half of the year, like everybody just hated on them from betting, and you saw the lines just go towards the opponent. The same is the case with the Bears, although I don't think I've ever seen a 5-1 team get the lack of respect from the sports
That's what
books.
I'm saying, especially with the Rams coming off a loss where they didn't look very good against the Niners.
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, I said at the beginning, I think this is a 3 or 4 point game. I tend to think the Rams are going to win this game and bounce back, but 7 points, a touchdown, that's with this defense for the Bears. And, you know, we still haven't seen that Foles game where he just, like, goes crazy and throws for 4 touchdowns. We're going to get it at some point. I don't think this is the week for it, but it's coming. It's coming.
Maybe.
He will at some point.
Maybe.
He will at some point. Well, 3 touchdowns. We'll say 3 touchdowns. Maybe not 4. But anyway, no, this game's too close. 5-1, 4-2. Come on, man. Like, I know that I know they haven't been running away, but 7 points, that's too much for this game, for the Bears, for a 5-1 team. 5-1 team getting 7 points. Just, you don't see that often. It's weird. But anyway, there you go. There's a podcast. You got anything for the crowd before we get moving here, David?
Nah, guys, just make sure to hit that like and subscribe if you want to check us out. You can follow me on Twitter as well, at Guru Fantasy World, WRLD, no O in World.
And these games get clipped out every single week on YouTube, youtube.com/theunderdog. Thanks for listening. Like David said, please like, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you next week. All right, brother.